Live edition of Bleav in Steelers here on a Wednesday night. Ike, schedule release is out. I am fired up. How are you this evening, my man?
Talk to me. I ain't even said it, but I know you're going to give it to me, so let's go.
Before we get into the schedule, and we're going to go game by game, Ike, I'm going to give my predictions. This is in real time as we've gotten them here tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to tell our listeners and viewers today's presenting sponsors, BetOnline.ag. They've been with us since day one. NBA playoffs are well underway. Stanley Cup playoffs are well underway. If you want to place a bet on any of the action, BetOnline.ag's got you covered.
365, 24/7, regardless on what sport or what time it is. Make sure y'all go to BetOnline.ag.
Over-unders, player props, spreads, anything you want to wager on, betonline.ag today. Use your mobile device, use a desktop computer to get started over at betonline.ag. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ike, today's presenting sponsor of Bleav in Steelers, also brought to you by Melin Hats. And Ike, I was at the coffee shop this last weekend. I had my melon hat on, got a compliment from the cashier. These hats are sweet, man.
Yeah, so I know you got a melon. When I'm talking about melon, I'm talking about your head. So make sure y'all put a melon on y'all melon. Me and my lady, we went to Miami, and I wound up dipping into the water, and it ain't even come off my hat, and it kept my whole body cool. So again, make sure y'all put a melon on top of your melon, regardless of what the weather is.
And we want to hook our listeners and viewers up. If you go to melon.com/Steelers, you can get started there. If you use our promo code Steelers, Ike, 30% off your order over at melon.com.
Man, I can't even lie, man. I ain't even from California, but I feel like I'm from California when I put this melon hat on. For
All right, Ike, let's get right into it. Week 1 in Atlanta on the road against the Atlanta Falcons, Arthur Smith's former team. These storylines write themselves. Week 1, right from the frying pan, right into the fire.
Man, you know the NFL know what they're doing. We talking about Arthur Smith. We talking about Raheem Morris, who's a good friend of Coach T. We talking about Arthur being a former head coach from the Atlanta Falcons. And what do you know? We got a couple of guys, Cordell Patterson and company, coming from Atlanta to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm sure it's going to be a showdown. Huh?
Yeah, I am going to take the Steelers in this one. I'm going to have them split. I think they're going to split because 2 road games to start the season is tough. But I think they take care of business week 1. And I think Arthur Smith's also going to know a lot of the players on the Falcons, what they like to do, what they don't like to do. And he's going to have that schematic advantage for Pittsburgh in week 1. I think the Steelers get it done in week 1 against Atlanta.
I'm just letting you know like this, man. And Russ I trust, and Justin, and Russ I trust, and Justin I trust in. So regardless of how the coaching staff want to do it, man, I'm just letting you know how it's going to go.
All right, week 2, Ike, on the road against the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson's former team. Have some stats for you here. First 2 weeks at home for the Broncos. They play it really, really tough since 1990. They are 34-7 against the spread. That's like the best in the NFL. They're 23-14-4 against the spread. Again, first 2 weeks at home. This is since 1990. But Denver is only 1-4 in their last 5 in the first 2 weeks at home since 2019. That home field advantage, the elevation, Ike, is an advantage for the Denver Broncos. And Russell Wilson going up against his former team in Sean Payton.
In Denver, it's just time to remember, as long as we're not playing them in December.
Ike's a poet, and I didn't even know it.
You feel me?
Yeah. That's from the soul. There's some truth to that, though, Ike.
Yes, sir.
Given your playing experiences, I think the Steelers split the season openers. I think they take a loss here. No, people won't want to hear that, but I've got them opening season 1-1. But we move on. Week 3 at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, now the coach. The Steelers have had some great success against his brother, John Harbaugh, against the Broncos, but we know it's going to be Justin Herbert, but it's going to be a very different Chargers team than we've seen in seasons past.
Yeah, ain't nothing changing, man. We still at the gun range.
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
So what I mean, regardless of what the first name is, when you come down to the Harbaugh brothers, As long as the last name Harbaugh, man, one thing for sure, two things for sure. Certain. Coach T know what he doing when he playing the Harbaughs.
Okay. Ike, you've convinced me. I'm going to take the Steelers at home. The opener, this will be at Acrisure Stadium, and week 3 against the Chargers, the latest home opener for the Steelers since 2001, when the Steelers in that season, 2001, is before your time in the league, Ike. Steelers didn't host their home opener until week 4, so a late home opener for Pittsburgh, but the home opener in week 3 against the Chargers. I've got the Steelers starting out 2-1. Week 4 at Indianapolis, September the 29th. I really don't know what to expect because we saw a little bit of Anthony Richardson in year 1 before he went down with the season-ending injury.
Yeah, you know how they get Indy, man. And Indy ain't windy because we playing in the dome, so everybody Cindy. So I ain't even tripping on that. So, man, you know it's gonna be the battle of the quarterbacks when it comes down to that. I feel like Indy is a young team, to be honest with you. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers is a young team. It's a balanced team, the same as well. So Anthony Richardson is back. We will see if he's healthy, what he can do. He showed nothing but promise throughout the season before he got hurt. So we'll see what the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indy Colts talking about. I know last time Pittsburgh went to Indy, they wound up getting a W.
Well, that week 15 game, Ike, last year where the Colts left the Steelers for dead, though. That was when we were looking square in the face at Tomlin's first losing season, and Mason Rudolph comes and turns the game around. So I think the Steelers get some – I think they get some revenge from a year ago.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy when you got that EpiPen in your side pocket and you stick yourself in the leg and you revive yourself. That's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers did when they went into Indy.
Okay. I'm going to take the Steelers at, well, it's like this one's tough. Straight up, Ike. You know what? Like I'm gonna change my pick. I've got the Steelers losing because here's how I think this game will go down. Whichever team runs the ball better wins this game.
Okay.
You got Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, and company run behind Quentin Nelson. I will say this: Cam Hayward's had Quentin Nelson's number for years now.
I guess you ain't respecting Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren behind a revamped offensive line. But
this is where in week 5, Ike, and we'll keep this rolling against the Dallas Cowboys. Paper Tigers, man. I'm just going to say it, and this is going to be to the delight of a lot of our listeners and viewers. I don't believe in Dallas. At home in Pittsburgh, this used to be a huge rivalry in the NFL, but I know Mike McCarthy's had several 12, 13-win seasons, and it's all nice during the regular season, but hey, good luck trying to win in Pittsburgh. I've got the Steelers regrouping, winning in week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, I'm gonna regurgitate what you just said. Good luck in Pittsburgh.
I think of what our guy Sheck thinks about the Cowboys when it's just from the soul, from people who've been Steelers fans dating back to the 70s. And I just,
it's been a rivalry. It's been a rivalry. No disrespect, all props to the Dallas Cowboys.
It's a sport.
Me and my homeboys, because usually all my homeboys are Dallas Cowboys fans, and I respect the heck that the Dallas Cowboys, every year from year in to year out, they always find a way how to draft players. You can say what you want to say about the Dallas Cowboys, the expectations, but when it comes down to drafting, Jerry Jones and company, man, they do a great job of drafting.
All right, Ike, week 6 got the Las Vegas Raiders on the road, and I know that you said famously, and I quote, I cut up in Wyoming. This game in Vegas, October the 13th, against Gardner Minshew. Like, this is one of the matchups I think that the Steelers have to win, because I look at the strength of schedule in terms of records from last year, and while I acknowledge their last year, 3rd hardest strength of schedule overall for the Steelers, but you look at the quarterback matchups. This is no knock on Gardner Minshew, who's made the most of his career, but this is a game that you have to win, just considering the strength of schedule, the opponents, and other quarterbacks that you're going to play. Give me Pittsburgh on the road in Vegas.
Man, well, it's AP versus Mike T, and I ain't talking about the watch. So Antonio Pierce is a revamped head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and you can tell by the offseason, everybody has been coming to camp in the OTAs. So they're buying into what he's doing right now, and it's good to see from afar. But I'll let you decide, Mark, on who you think gonna win, the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'll take the Steelers. I'll tell you what, though, about AP. I saw him walking on the street in Indy when we were there for the combine. And I know you say this. I know you say this about your former teammates, Ike, of I'd walk into a back alley brawl with them, and it was just the way he walked. It was like, whoa, whoa.
He California all day. So it fits him for him to be a Las Vegas Raiders coach.
We'll see.
What coach pull up in a 6'4" with a 6'4" with hydraulics on it? Ain't nobody can pull that off but AP, man.
It's like either him or like Dan Campbell if we had like a steel cage match, Ike, who's coming out alive at the very end. I swear.
Agreed.
I'm taking the Steelers on the road in Vegas. Week 7, Sunday Night Football, Jets. I don't really know what to expect for the Jets. Yeah, they had a really good defense last year. Rodgers didn't play. Can you put it all together? And on Sunday Night Football, like, our guy Mike Tomlin shines time and time and time again. Steelers are starting to stack the wins. It's going to be back-to-back prime times. You got Sunday Night Football and the following week, Monday Night Football against both New York teams. Give me the Steelers on Sunday Night Football against the Jets, though.
Man, keep that playing on the ground because Coach T ain't playing around.
Are these just coming off the dome?
This is coming straight off the top of the dome.
All right, Ike, week 8, Monday Night Football against the Giants at home. I've got 3 straight wins for the Steelers. I think they take a loss here. I think they'll split one of the 2 back-to-back primetime games, big-time games going into the bye week. It's, again, what team can run the football well? What do the Giants do now that Saquon Barkley is not their running back anymore? But, again, it's just going to be tough between this game and the Jets. I think they'll split the 2. So I've got them beating the Jets. I've got them losing to the Giants on Monday Night Football going into the bye week.
I mean, I get it, Mark, but at the same time.
Maybe I should flip those picks, the Jets and the Giants. I just think they'll split them. Sorry, go ahead, Ike.
No, I always feel like Coach T always going to find a way. So, I mean, going to the Giant Stadium has always been tough going to the Giant Stadium. I really do feel like the Giants have a good head coach, and sometimes we get into names when it comes down to players, but sometimes minusing the player and being a better team is the best for the team, so we shall see.
Ike, you've got the bye week in week 9. I've got a couple of thoughts here. Number one, I think that this is a perfect time for a bye week, considering that trade back to Chicago of if you want to play Justin Fields at some point this season, if he plays more than 51% of the snaps, it's a 4th-round pick back to the Bears. If it's less than that, it's a 6th-round pick back to the Bears. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason why Fields does or doesn't play. How is Russell Wilson through the first 4 games? How is he through the first 8 games? Do you have injury concerns? What is his performance like? I think he's your starter for as long as he can be. But this bye week comes at a great time because if you want it to be a 6th-round pick back to Chicago and not a 4th-round pick back to Chicago, you can start Russell Wilson the first half of the year and then start Justin Fields just where this bye week is positioned. This is favorable for Pittsburgh. Now, the back half in the last 8 games of the regular season, Ike, is ranked number 1 in terms of strength of schedule. So you've got to load up. You've got to get as many wins as you can on the front half of the schedule, Ike, in my opinion, considering these next 8 games that we'll go through are as tough as any in the league.
Yeah, Mark. So it just depends on who the starter coming out of training camp is. So I know everybody anticipating. I know the way you're talking is what if it. But at the same time, if Russ is doing his thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, there is no need to have an argument on it. If Justin is doing his thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, there is no need to argue on it. I do trust in Arthur, our OC, to figure out how he can use one or even both of them. So at the same time, man, I'm not going to wait till the bye week to be like, I think so-and-so should play. If so-and-so don't play as well, then the next guy should play. You got to stay with who's been playing well. So we shall see when the record holds up for itself. And really, that's out of my pay grade. So I'm going to go ahead and fall back on that one.
All good, Ike. And we'll get to week 10 on the road against the Washington Commanders. Rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels. You're coming out of the bye week. You've got extra time to prepare. Rookie QB, brand new roster, brand new ownership. If the Steelers are a playoff team, you got a TCB, and that's take care of business. I've got them winning against the Commanders coming off the bye week.
Man, shout out to Dan Quinn for hiring my dog, William Gay, my former teammate, making him one of the guys on the staff when it comes down to the DB section. And I'm going to leave it like that.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn, look, say what you want about his shortcomings in Atlanta, falling just short of a Super Bowl, but heck of a DC for the last several years for the Dallas Cowboys, one of the best defensive coaches in all of football. You talk about changing up the culture in Washington, and that comes from ownership on down. I think that they had the most salary cap space. They made a ton of moves in free agency as well. So I think tides are turning in Washington. It's just going to be tough to do that in the very first year where you have so much changeover in that franchise.
I agree.
All right, week 11, Ike. First time you're going up against the Baltimore Ravens. How do you slow down King Henry? But this is something, Ike, where Coach T and the Steelers, for whatever reason, they play the Ravens tough as any team in the league. This one also at home. We'll get to the Ravens matchup on the road here in a little bit. But at home, I've got to take Pittsburgh, just considering how they've played the Ravens and Lamar for the last several years.
Man, you know, this always, in my eyes, has been one of the best rivalries, especially when they came down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You want to talk about physicality. You want to talk about classic games. You want to talk about, at the time when we played, whoever won the AFC North probably had an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship. This is it, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. The Pittsburgh Steelers revamped their offense into how they wanted to revamp it. When I talk about bully ball, the Baltimore Ravens, for the most part, they've been leading the league when it comes down to rushing between Lamar Jackson and company. Now you get King Henry, and King Henry, we always know what he's been doing since the Tennessee Titans. So this gonna be a fun matchup, man. This gonna be an old school Steeler back alley bar fight kind of brawl, which is always has been fun.
Your favorite, Ike?
100%.
Steelers are 6-1 in the last 7 games against the Ravens. Going against King Henry, Patrick Queen also plays his former team. I'm going to take the Steelers at home against the Baltimore Ravens. I think they keep it rolling. Now, week 12, shortened week against the Cleveland Browns. What's it going to look like with Nick Chubb coming back from his knee injury? And remember, it was that collision with Minkah Fitzpatrick which got him injured in the first place. Is there going to be bad blood there? You're also on a shortened week going into this game. I'm going to take the Browns at home on Thursday Night Football against the Steelers.
Nick Chubb's one of my favorite running backs, man. He got something to prove. At the same time, I know how the Pittsburgh Steelers, when it comes down to AFC North football, how they feel about their mindset going into them kind of games. So one thing I do like about the Cleveland Browns, they have a lot of first rounders, and their first rounders actually been tapping into their talent. But one thing I love about the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, it's hard to go against Coach T and company.
Yeah, a lot of first rounders on that defense specifically. And Jim Schwartz did a nice job over in Cleveland in year 1, but it didn't translate in the playoffs for the Cleveland Browns. So can they build upon that this upcoming season? Again, shortened week on Thursday night. Then we go to week 13 on the road. So you got all these AFC North games back to back to back to back on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Ike, I'm gonna let you take this one. I got to think about what I want to do in terms of picking a winner or loss for the Steelers in this game.
Man, you got two of the premier wide receivers, young wide receivers in the league, all on one team with the Cincinnati Bengals. So you got Jamar Chase for sure, we already know what he been doing since he stepped in the league coming from LSU. You got T. Higgins, he looking for his money. So when you get two guys in their prime that's looking for their money, ain't nothing funny.
I can't keep up with these rhymes. They're delightful. Like, I'm gonna take the Bengals at home. So I've got the Steelers falling to 7-5 now at this point. You have another AFC North game. Crazy stretch here. So week 14's at home against Cleveland. Now I'll pick Pittsburgh to get some redemption against the Cleveland Browns here at home. Steelers have always kind of like split things with the Browns. It's like you'd think that the Ravens rivalry is going to be more even again. Pittsburgh's won 6 of 7 against Baltimore. The Browns have given them a little bit more trouble recently. It just seems like to me, but I'll take the Steelers to regroup at home against Cleveland in week 14.
Yeah, I don't know if you're into boxing, but it's always like styles make the matchups and matchups makes the fight, right? So you can look at it two ways, man. If it's Cleveland, either they leading or either they leaving or they're leading. So it's just gonna be a scenario between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, man, you got to split. Out of the three teams the Pittsburgh Steelers playing, it's gonna be one team you split. So far the Cleveland Browns over the past couple of years, we have been splitting with the Cleveland Browns, regardless of what everybody else in the world think about the Cleveland Browns. By the end of the day, man, they got a hell of a roster.
No doubt. No doubt about that. Ike, week 15 on the road against Philadelphia. I'm putting it out there right now. It's May 15th. The last time that the Steelers won in Philly, 1965, they get it done this year. It happens. Battle of Pennsylvania, Steelers on the road. I don't think that this Eagles team is going to be quite the same. There was some regression coming off the Super Bowl appearance. Jason Kelce is now retired. That defense hasn't been what it's been the last several years. I'm taking Pittsburgh on the road to win in Philly, first time since 65.
Man, that's going to be tough because you got two teams in the same state, and by week 15, everything going to be at stake. So we shall see.
All right. So I've got the Steelers at this point at 9-5. Week 16, Saturday game on December the 21st against the Baltimore Ravens. This will be in Baltimore. Can they keep the winning ways going against Lamar and company? This is so tough to pick. This is a coin flip game, Ike. Here's how I think, like the two of the last three, because you got Baltimore, KC, Bengals. I think the Steelers get 2 of the 3 on the road. I'll say that the Steelers lose to the Ravens in week 16. This is a coin flip game for me, though, Ike. It's really hard to pick.
So I'm going to talk to you like how we talk in New Orleans, right, Mark?
All right.
So the world says Saturday. So in New Orleans, we like to take the syllables out, right? I can't wait till the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens in week 16, December the 21st, play on a Saturday.
Play on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, on a Saturday.
Okay.
You say Saturday. We say, man, I'm playing on a Saturday. We cut everything off. So
I don't have the Cajun twang that you do, Ike.
Yeah, you say Saturday, that's too much for us. We like, man, we playing on the Saturday. Like at the end, you just gotta like stay calm and barely say it.
This is why we're partners, Ike.
And that's why I F with you.
Oh, man. All right, we got 2 more, Ike. 2 more. Christmas Day, Kansas City Chiefs, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Acrisure Stadium against the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Oh, man. This is really tough.
Man, honestly, it's just I know because you from the area and you
I've got friends from there.
You F with me because I played and you feel like I'm your brother when it comes down to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? But deep down inside, I know you want to go for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Mark, don't even hesitate
All
with
right.
it. Just go with the Kansas
It's
City
hard
Chiefs
it's
and let
hard
it
with
play out.
Mahomes. It's hard with Mahomes.
Just let it play
But
out. I get it.
I'll say this. They're going to be going for the three-peat. Like, that's not going to happen. Three-peat's not going to happen. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'll say that. But three-peat for Super Bowl, like, and Ike, you're pretending to be asleep, but I actually
No,
listened
Mark,
to
I'm telling you, you ain't got to explain to me. Listen, you taking the Chiefs, whether
yeah,
it's 3, 9, 6, or 0 P. You
I
taking the
know.
Chiefs because you like Patty Mahomes. And I have no argument against
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying, just go with your gut. So your gut
All right.
said KC.
KC.
All
We're just making the pick. And hey, it's for the listeners and viewers. BetOnline.ag. Shout out to
All right.
BetOnline.
Okay.
Week 18. We don't know the exact date yet. At home against the Bengals. I got the Steelers closing out with the win, finished 10-7, Ike. And we've usually been pretty spot on with our picks year in and year out. So that's what I've got. I've got the Steelers taking care of business against Cincinnati to finish the season at Acrisure Stadium against division opponent. Is that good enough for your division opponent? I didn't say rival. Division
When I
opponent.
look at it, that TBD, that means it's a very important game, especially towards the end of the season. So it's on Cincinnati record, it's on the Pittsburgh Steelers record, and how things gonna shake out when it comes down to the playoffs. So either you gonna be a 1, or 4, or 8 o'clock game. So that's when I see that TBD, I know that game is very important on the schedule.
Yeah. I want to check in with some people watching Ike here live on YouTube. Allenson says Saturday. Hey, Alan, thanks for checking in. I needed the
Already knew
pronouncer
what
on
I
the
was talking
screen.
about. He already knew. Like in New Orleans, we just like we abbreviate words because the syllables be too long. But then when we say a word, we kind of like whisper it at the end. So that's why I say, you say Saturday, that's too much for us. I'm using too much of my lungs in syllables. We say sad.
Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's like sad day.
Wade Johnson checking in, saying the Ravens struggled with Pickett and Mason. They don't stand a chance against Rustin Fields. Way, appreciate you checking in, man. Love the optimism. Love the
Man,
optimism
all
here.
I'm gonna tell Way is that's the way to go.
Yes. Let's see here. Robert checking in, saying 13-4. Way checking back in, saying he's got 15-3. I don't know if this includes the playoffs. His math's a little bit off, but Way, we appreciate it, man. Oh, man. And then one more, Chad checking in, saying, I wonder if any team had the same starting QB for 17 games last season. My guess is we see Fields for the Dallas game take a snap. I think Justin Fields is going to see the field at some point, have some special packages for him. He's just too talented of a player to keep on the sideline for forever. And how the Steelers handle that, Ike, it's just going to be fascinating to watch. But for the time being, the vibes are just better. You tell me, listen to the players, and the players saying that there's leadership there that hasn't been there on the offensive side of the ball in years. That's why there's a ton of optimism here. The night of the schedule release, heading into the season, I don't want to wish my life away, but get me to September, because now that we know the dates and the opponents, I am fired up, Ike Taylor.
Man, I think y'all ain't gonna get me in trouble. That's what I do think. So I'm gonna keep my mouth closed.
I got you.
Keep my mouth
I got
closed
you.
with certain opinions, but I do think y'all ain't get me in trouble on this one.
And hey, Way, who told us about the pronunciation of Saturday, says 15-3 because we win the bye week. And I think that is a terrific way to close here on the show.
I respect it.
He's Ike Taylor. I'm Mark Bergin. This has been a live reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers 2024 schedule release here on a Wednesday night, Ike. Any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, I want to thank you, Mark, of course. I want to thank the Bleav in Steelers podcast. I want to thank BetOnline.ag for always rocking with us. If y'all got anything to bet on, 365, 24/7. Always want to include it. Want to thank Melin for giving us the hats for
Yes,
our
sir.
melon, man. This is nice, comfy, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. Make sure y'all put a melon on top of y'all melon.
Yes. And Ike, again, the promo code Steelers will have all that information in the show notes. Our listeners and viewers get 30% off. Thanks to Melin. Thanks to BetOnline.ag. Thanks to you, Ike Taylor, and thanks to the listeners and the viewers for making us a part of their day. I'll sign off for the both of us here. For Ike Taylor, two-time Super Bowl champion, he's swagging you. He is a Pittsburgh Steelers scout. My name is Mark Bergin. Thank you for watching the Bleav in Steelers show. We'll see you next time. Take care. So long, everybody.
Peace.